From JA to UK to LA and everywhere else now, this is a podcast strictly influenced by Jamaican music, brought to you by Eric Kohler and Junor Francis. Well, if you're driving in your car or you're sitting home alone, the Junior entertain you on his microphone with the history of LA Ska. Yeah, hear stories from a guest while we all have a blast. From LA to Jamaica, it's in the podcast. The history of LA Ska. Of LA Ska, yeah. It's the history. Yes, it is. Of LA Ska. History of LA Ska, yeah. It's the history. Yes, it is. Of LA Ska. Of LA Ska. It's the history of LA Ska. One more time, yeah. It's the history of LA Ska.
Welcome to the History of LA Ska one-on-one sessions. I'm your host, Junor Francis, alongside my good friend, Eric Kohler. This series celebrates the ska, rocksteady, and vintage reggae scene in Southern California and beyond through insightful conversation with legends and modern-day talent, including those behind the scene. A lot of people working behind the scene to make this a success, and we're really thankful. So whether you wear a two-tone shirt, listen to this podcast series, or watch us on YouTube, many thanks for your support. Please remember to subscribe and tell as many friends as you possibly can. You're going to see why I'm beyond myself with joy to introduce this next person. We're honored, both Eric and I, to have with us Pauline Black, the iconic frontwoman, singer, and songwriter of the Selector. Pauline helped to bring the sound and spirit of the two-tone movement to the world, not just the United Kingdom, to the world. Nearly 47 years ago, she and her bandmates combined ska, punk, energy, and sharp commentary to create danceable music that relates to people all over the world. It is both a privilege and a pleasure to listen to the politically astute actor, and singer Pauline Black, and no exaggeration. All the things I've said are true.
Welcome, Pauline.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Junior. I mean, that was quite an intro, wasn't it?
Well,
So I can't really say that I'll live up to that, but anyway, we will try, shall we?
Many people around the world would argue that, Pauline. But thank you for taking the time to speak with us. We've been wanting to do this for some time. We know that you're busy, so it is an honor. Gonna start with a big question here that you, I'm sure, have been asked many times. But what keeps you motivated and inspired after all these years to continue doing what you're doing?
The group of people that I actually work with at the moment. We're currently kind of writing some new material as well. And before we get out on the road again, which is next week, and just doing different things. I mean, you can't just do one thing. So, we had the film out, the documentary film, which hasn't come out it has had a showing in America, actually, in Minneapolis, which was really brilliant. And maybe we might be coming out sort of not the band, but myself anyway in September. So that's something else that I can't.
You mean to California?
Yep.
I need to know that.
All right. Yeah.
Don't worry, you'll know when I know.
There we go. Fair enough.
I promise.
Fair enough. Yes, Junior.
Right. So, Pauline, I want to ask you, who are some of your musical influences as a youth growing up in the UK?
Well, I mean, there were many and varied for lots of different reasons. But my first, I think, I mean, if we're going to talk ska and reggae, right, would have been the Pioneers. Mm-hmm. And because I went to this school, and the catchment area for the school that I went to in Romford, which is in Essex in England, incorporated Dagenham, which was, if anyone knows, there was a huge, great Ford factory there. Bit like, sort of Detroit. Well, I don't know. Where did they build Fords in America?
Yeah, in Detroit.
Yeah, in Detroit. That's what I thought. Yeah. General Motors as well. Right. And so a lot of kids came from from this place called Dagenham, and they came to our school. And some of them, because they lived nearer to, say, Tilbury Docks, and had looked at the whole rude boy styling of Jamaican kind of guys who were working on the docks, unloading and stuff like that, they'd adopted the skinhead styling. And so they were skinheads at my school, and we all wore uniform in those days. And they adapted their uniform to kind of accommodate, I suppose, that sort of thing.
Right.
And nobody minded short hair in those days because everybody was a hippie. And so, you know, if you had short hair, well, then you were doing something good. And I was the only black kid in my school.
Wow.
So these kids, these were all white, and they used to have this common room that we all went to, and they had an old red dance set, and they used to play old ska and reggae records. And the Pioneers' Long Shot Kick the Bucket was one of the first ones that I heard.
Big tune, right.
And so I must be the only white person, probably, in the whole of history who has been turned on to ska music by white folks.
Interestingly enough, our next event, the Pioneers. That's
coming up,
right.
Celebration of Jamaica independence.
Serendipity.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
And Pauline, I have to say, Junor and I have talked about this, and Junor was there when you played Supernova last fall. The clip of you meeting Jackie Robinson backstage.
Oh, that was so cool.
I had so much FOMO for not being attending, but I seeing that clip and it's those off stage behind the scenes type of moment like that where you being a legend and obviously and you looking up at
he being a super legend,
him being a super legend, right? I mean, I love that moment, and I encourage people to find that. But that's great. Any influences that you want to point out outside of Jamaican music?
Outside of that, well, obviously Millie Small, because she was number one.
Yes.
That would have been one of the really early kind of ska reggae kind of records that made it into the chart over there. And I was 15 at the time, and being 15 then was not like being 15 now, you know. It was none of this AI business or none of these phones and all this and stuff, you know, so it was all a bit straight-laced. And so I got my music where I could get my music, which was basically on a radio. You didn't have loads and loads of different stations in those days. It was the very early days of pirate radio stations like Radio Luxembourg and Radio London, Radio Caroline, which were ships, decommissioned ships that were just kind of moored beyond the 12-mile line in outside the borders of the UK. And they used to play all kinds of different music. And so, you know, like all kids would be under the covers with an old transistor radio kind of thing. So listening to all this stuff. And so it was all remarkable. And so the very first time, I mean, I heard Millie, I mean, she had such a wonderful voice, such an original voice, and she looked fantastic. Yeah, I mean, you know, what not to like.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, earlier Eric mentioned Supernova. I just want to take a moment to thank Supernova for bringing these legends to the East Coast, something we haven't seen in a long time. Tim and his wife, April, and the entire crew. They
absolutely,
have an amazing
and they're
crew.
lovely people.
Oh,
lovely people,
yes,
you know?
Yes, so I want to thank them. I don't want to miss the opportunity. So what was the selector's songwriting process during the early years, the formative?
During the early years, I mean, during the formative years, you've got to remember that it was one guy, and that was Neil Davis, who was the main songwriter for the selector. And he got together with John Bradbury, who was the drummer in the Specials,
right?
And the guy who worked down the sweet shop from me, who is now in his 90s, called Barry Jones, who played the trombone on a original track called The Selector, but it wasn't called The Selector then. It was called Kingston Affair, and that was an instrumental track that he wrote, and they recorded that in the kind of studio come shed of a guy called Roger Lomas, who would go on to produce On My Radio and Too Much Pressure. And he then went on to do a lot of work with Bad Manners and had lots of hits with them as well.
Okay.
So that happened 2 years before the Selector, the band, kind of came together. And no record company wanted to pick that up at the time. The Specials were in their early formative years, so they were developing their sound, but eventually they got a deal. And Jerry set up that whole two-tone label, and they put out Gangsters, which was their first single, and they didn't have a B-side. And so they rang up Neil, because I mean, in Coventry, everybody knew everybody else, you know, because it's like, it's a city, but it's like a small town. And they said, you know, that track you had, Kingston Affair, can we have that? Do you want to put it on our B-side? So he said, well, yeah. So Jerry said, well, I think we should rename it. Let's rename it The Selector, which was obviously a play on the whole thing about, you know, DJ's Selector and all the rest of it.
And what year are you talking about now?
That would have been 1979, because that came out in May 1979.
Okay.
And it went out and it started climbing the charts. So Neil thought that he ought to get a band together. And there was this roots reggae band in Coventry called Hard Top 22, which had Charlie Anderson, who would go on to be the bass player in The Selector, and Gaps Hendrickson, who was my fellow lead singer, and Desmond Brown, who was keyboard player, who sometimes played with them. I mean, everybody played with everybody else, do you know what I mean? In varying configurations. But anyway, it coalesced into this band called The Selector. And within, I don't know, like 5 months or something like that, we were recording our first single, because we had a deal then with Two Tone, which allowed you to have £1,000 to go in and record 3 tracks, and they would pick 2 for your first single. And we recorded Street Feeling on my radio, Too Much Pressure, and On My Radio, Back with Too Much Pressure was our first single. And then it climbed the charts and it got in the top 10. And then it kind of all started, you know, and then you're just on a kind of roller coaster for about a year and a half. And then we all had a big row, fell out, and, you know, the usual.
But in between,
success came too quickly.
Right.
Yeah.
In between that time, though, and that's fascinating. When was the performance that was included in the cult classic Dance Craze recorded?
Oh, Dance Craze. Well, Dance Craze was recorded over a couple of sessions, because some of it was the earlier band, but then some of it was a version of the later band, because Charlie Anderson and Desmond Brown left after we came to America, actually, which would have been in April, May 1980. So then 2 other guys, that was our first tour. That was the very original band. Then we swapped, and we had a guy called Adam Williams on bass, who would go on to work with the Eurythmics on a lot of their early sort of hit stuff, and a guy called James Mackey, who was on keyboards.
Interesting. So when did you realize that the Selector had something that resonated so well with fans?
When people began to dance, which is basically at our first gig. We were supporting the Specials at a gig called where was it? It was Leeds F Club, and we turned up there with all our gear, and Elvis Costello was there because he was going to record the Specials.
Yes.
So I mean, we were all in awe of Elvis Costello. It was like, blimey, you know, who does a first gig in front of Elvis Costello? Nobody. You know, even if you are the support band. And so when we first went on, like usual, you know, all the cool people were all hanging around at the bar and not really taking any notice. And by about the second number, I mean, everybody was down the front and just having exactly the same kind of fun as anyone else. So that was, that was cool.
Yeah,
I mean, it was like, whoa, okay, I'll have some more of this. And then we were off, and then we were on the Two-Tone tour with the Specials and Madness, and that was 40 dates. So that was late 1979. And then our first album came out in February 1980.
There's some really striking photos from that tour. Obviously, you've seen.
As I love to say, the rightness of time and the rightness of place.
Serendipity, Junior. I'm a great believer in it.
Yeah.
Yes. So performing on Top of the Pops was really a big deal. I know all the Jamaican musicians wanted to have that experience. How many times did you make an appearance, and can you describe some of the experiences you gained from that?
Well, we had 5 hits, so 5 times.
Every-
Let me see. The very first time was with On My Radio.
Mhm.
And I think it was really sort of weird because at that time, if you look at the top 10 of that, I think in Britain anyway, Shut Up Your Face. I don't know. Do you remember Joe Dolce? Yeah, you probably don't.
no.
Right. And it's an Italian guy.
Yeah,
It was a comic record.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was just, the punchline was "shut up in your face," like you might say spaghetti or something.
Right.
Really, really bad, not at all right on. And but, the British are the British, so we were on that. We were kind of in the top 10. But a record that was also coming up the charts at that time was Buggles, and with Video Killed the Radio Star. And there we were with On My Radio, and they were coming up with Video Killed the Radio Star. And within a couple of weeks, they were number 1. The bastard.
Right. So that was the early introduction of video, right?
So that was the early introduction, I suppose, to, the dog-eat-dog world of the music business. You were as good as your last record. And that was for everybody. But in those days, of course, singles sold like the bucket load. 250,000 singles. Well, that was nothing kind of thing, And I mean, so that was actual money, not like streaming now with all these, Spotify and stuff. You get 0.003 of a penny for every time they play it. So yes, it was very different days then.
So during those formative years prior to the Selector breaking up, what would you consider some of the highlights of that period for you?
Oh, the highlights. Well, going to America was one of them. I think we flew into Vancouver first in Canada, and then came sort of down the western seaboard there into LA, and we played the Whiskey.
Wow.
With Gino Washington. Does anyone remember Gino Washington in the Ram Jam Band? Well, he was supporting us, which was quite unbelievable. Well, it was quite unbelievable to him too, because he didn't like it. And we've made it up though since. But so that was pretty cool for one thing. And I remember being backstage, because we played it twice. We played it on the way through, and we didn't know about this whole thing then, that you did 2 shows a night. So, I mean, we did one show full on like we always did. So, I mean, everyone was wrecked and sweating, and we just moved nonstop. And someone said, "Oh, you got to do another one." And so I think they were kind of easing us into it. So we didn't really know that. But anyway, by the time we got all the way across to the other side, to the East Coast, the Whiskey A Go-Go said, "Oh, can they come back and do a kind of 5-night residency here?" And we thought, do we really want to do that? But anyway, of course you want to do that, when you're young. So back we went. And during that stint, Bette Midler, who wasn't the hugely famous Bette Midler that we know now. But anyway, Bette Midler turned up looking a bit like a bag lady. And she did. She had an old beret on, big old coat. And she came backstage afterwards, that upstairs room there, the old room, and she came in and she said, "Oh, they're jumping about. Doesn't that hurt your titties?" And I thought, who is this woman? And then I looked at her, and again, serendipity. I had been reading her biography while we were on the road, and there she was, stood in front of me.
Wow.
It was all very strange.
That is wild. Yeah. So what, aside from that experience with that, did anything surprise you about the fans and the US? Americans. How did we surprise you?
Well, I mean, Americans aren't really very politically orientated, are they?
No, they're
That's
correct.
You know
When
it.
it comes to
Yeah, yeah,
politics.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And they accept it.
And they didn't. I think they got what we were talking about, but it was like not really. You know, I mean, they got the whole thing about the anti-racist message.
Sure.
You know, blacks and whites being together in a band and all those kinds of things. But the kind of the deeper kind of stuff about two-tone. You know, that it wasn't just black and white, it was also sort of gender as well, and messing with that whole kind of idea that had Madness pass through first. And that was a problem because Madness were, you know, arguably different from the Specials and us in terms of what we were talking about.
Yes.
So they very much saw it as this, hey, you know, knees up thing, loads of beer and all this. I'm not saying that we weren't necessarily into that, but we did take it a little bit more seriously than that.
I can see that.
Because our heroes were like Prince Buster and, you know, the Scatterlights and people. You know, I don't know. I mean, Vaudeville was Madness's.
Of course. And it's interesting. I can't speak to all the different major cities that you probably toured in the US, but at least in Los Angeles at that time, the Untouchables had just formed, I believe. There was the Box Boys, which was a short-lived ska type mod band. I think Fishbone was just starting as well. So there were only a handful of ska type bands that were here. So obviously I could imagine how much of a treat it was to see you all then.
Well, we didn't really know that, you see. We didn't know that. All we knew was the Clash was over there.
Oh, right. Okay.
You know, I mean, that was in those days. We didn't really know that you had a scene, and I'm not sure that. I mean, really, in 1980?
Was there a scene in 79 just forming, just coming into fruition?
Yeah, because there was there was an On Club, which was a mod club here in Los Angeles that hosted some of these, but in the very early stages, yes. Yeah.
I mean, kids turned up in all the gear, do you know what I mean? I mean, sort of pork pie hats, black and white, and all this sort of thing. So it was really, really nice. But it was literally, we were just doing a show, moving on, doing a show, moving on, and all those sorts of things. But it was, there was a real excitement in the air. It was more, I suppose, because of that whole mod scooterist tradition.
For sure.
And people turning up in parkas, and all of that was going on. It was very stylish, possibly more stylish than it was at home. I mean, you didn't see many skinheads, which was, I'm not going to say was a good or a bad thing, but it was interesting because it was wall-to-wall skinheads for us, you know, at home at that time, and the more unpleasant variety. So that was quite refreshing. To go, you know, just to come to the States, just see other people and just see people dancing, and to something that, you know, had originated basically in a relatively provincial town in the middle of England.
Right. Well, you definitely built some lifelong fans on that tour.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah.
And interestingly, they are still dancing.
They still are.
Some 40-odd years, almost a century after.
Pauline, what led to two-part question? What led to the Selectors breakup, and then what led to you reforming in the early 90s?
What led to the Selectors breakup? Musical differences. That's all I'm going to say about that. It's all catalogued out there. Quite, you know, bad behavior from all of us. I don't discount myself.
All very
you know what
common,
I mean?
I'm sure, in bands.
It's you know, everyone has 20/20 hindsight, don't they? And so that's basically that. But we burned very, very brightly for a very short period of time. And I just went on and I did other things. I did some TV presenting. I did some acting, all of that. Anyway, by the time 1991 came along, I was doing a benefit concert at the Royal Albert Hall in London. And Chrissie Hynde was there, who I knew from earlier because they kind of came up with us. And she was singing a song and I was singing a song. And she turned around to me at one point and she said, you know, the ska's really big. There's this thing called third wave ska in America. And I said, no, I didn't know that. And I actually didn't, because I'd kind of parted company with, you know, no one was really into ska very much here. Bad Manners battled on, and also battled on it in America, you know, full marks to them. So I said, oh, I'll have to check that out. And within, I think, a month of her telling me that, some of two guys in Bad Manners got hold of myself and Neil Davis and said, "Do you want to reform the Selector?"
Okay.
And they said, "We've got 16 shows that you can come and do here in Britain, and I think there's a load of shows that we can do out there too." And we said, "Well, okay, you know, I mean, it was kind of summer, so we thought we'd try that." And so we did. Buster wasn't very happy. Has probably never spoken to us again, but there you go. He'll get over it one day. And so we came back out to America, and I was in UK. There was this whole kind of resurgence. It had all gone underground, but because of it being rekindled by the third wave, it seemed to be like, you know, hey, there's a scene here. So we used to go out. We used to let's go bowling, the Skeletones, you know, those bands. They were the ones who were kind of with us, and we had real fun. We had real fun. You know, it seemed very, very different. Not quite so hidebound in all the, you know, the suits and all this kind of, I mean, a little bit, but it was looser by then.
Right.
You know, people had different kinds of stylings and stuff. And it kind of developed from there. Then we came back a couple of times. Then we heard out of the blue, really, Gwen Stefani decided that, you know, she had been so influenced by the Selector that would we like to come out and support them on their East Coast tour, because they had a band on with them and they weren't really getting on with them, or for whatever reason, I don't know what. And would we like to come out? And that was in 1997. So we'd been carrying on from there periodically, putting out records, and coming over to the States and doing shows. You know, we kept that up for about 15 years, I guess.
So I want to take you back to 1993, though. The Skavuvi tour.
Skavuvi tour.
Yeah, man. Yes, Selector Special Beat.
Yeah.
Aggrolites, Founding Fathers, and I think some of the original members were there at the time, the Toasters.
They were all there, all of the original members, pretty much, of the Aggrolites.
Tommy, Lloyd, Lester.
Roland was there as well. You know, Roland Alfonso was there. He wasn't very well. He had his stroke.
The genius Jack Metu?
No.
Right.
No, I think Jackie stopped in maybe 90 or so, but yeah.
Right. No, he wasn't there. But Tommy McCook?
Yes, and both Lloyds, right?
And both, yeah.
What are some of the experiences you can share from memory juggling?
I can't really tell you.
Well, you share, didn't you all share a bus with the Aggrolites?
Yes, we did. Right? Yeah, you did. You did read that right. Yeah.
The most can say one or two things, man. About being around scat.
Well, I suppose they're not here anymore.
After all.
It was quite a hoot being on a bus with them. I don't think they'd ever been on a bus with a woman in their lives. Do you know what I mean?
Probably accurate. Maybe just Doreen.
Well, maybe Doreen, yes. But I don't think they'd kind of been on one, well, with someone like me.
Understand.
And they used to sit up the back of the bus, at the front of the bus. And me and, you know, the members of the Selector that were on the bus, we used to be up the back of the bus, which would have been Martin Stewart and Nick Welsh in those days. So we had our territories, and then there were the bunks in the middle. Well, I used to sleep at the back because I don't need to be around a load of snoring, smelly men. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you know, no disrespect, but men are not women. And, but anyway, we found out that the two televisions were linked the television at the back and the television at the front were linked, although you could watch independently.
Okay.
And let us say that the Scatterlights, as elderly as they were at that time, had a bit of a penchant for watching naughty films. So we used to switch the channel, so we'd know that they were doing that. And then I'd go up the front of the bus and open the door, and they'd all dive for the for the thing to switch it over,
God,
and all sit there looking embarrassed, like, did she see? Did she not see? And all this kind of thing. So that's my story about the Scatterlights. But it was funny. They were fun. Do you know what I mean? I let them know that I knew at the end of the tour.
As you should have.
So
they treated you with courtesy and respect.
Pardon?
Did they treat you with courtesy and respect?
Oh, of course. Of course. Of course.
Right.
Of course. No, I mean, you know, they knew that we were fellow musicians. Didn't matter whether you were sort of I mean, Prince Buster, every time Prince Buster saw me, this was on a different tour, but with the Scatterlights, but in Japan, every time he saw me, he'd go, "Hey, girl, trot my shop, give me some tea." And so I would become tea girl.
Oh my
God. Well, I don't mind. I mean, you know, he was like a major kind of influence to everybody that was around two-tone. So, you know, that I wasn't going to argue that. I wasn't going to stand my ground and do a kind of, you know, I'll burn my bra rather than make you tea.
Right. Yes.
So I just went and made the tea.
Since we're talking about a few of the different legends, Junior and I had the pleasure of working with and meeting and spending time with Rico Rodriguez.
Oh, Rico, what a
can you share any words about Rico?
Rico was absolutely wonderful. If you listen to Black and Blue, which is on the Too Much Pressure album, he does the best solo over the end of that trombone solo, over the end of that song. He also played on Carrigo Brincom on that particular album. And he, during the 90s, if we were playing London, he'd always come out with us. You know, he'd always turn up. And, you know, I mean, he was a bit sort of stoned maybe, but, you know, one time he left the mute in and couldn't quite understand why he didn't hear himself and stuff, you know, but otherwise he was absolutely cool. I mean, he was lovely, man. Lovely man.
Such a sweet man. I would agree. Yes. Read
his Bible every day as well.
Yes.
Not that I am religious particularly, but I do respect someone who you know, acts in the way that he preaches.
For sure. Pauline, your friend and bandmate Gaps passed nearly 2 years ago.
Right.
We cracked it.
What are some thoughts and some memories that you could share about Gaps? And
well, I mean, it was total and utter.
Our condolences.
It was an utter tragedy. I mean, what happened to Gaps? You know, until I don't know, maybe the last time we came out. Well, no, it wasn't the last time. Probably, but we did the Supernova in the September. But Gaps died in the June of 2024.
Already called that black guy.
Okay.
Well, we cracked it.
Right. Thank you.
All right.
Tell you that way. No issue.
You all right, Junior?
Right. Sorry.
Yes.
It's all right.
The repairman is here. They cracked the glass.
Oh, that's never good.
Oh dear. Oh, that's a shame. Sorry about that.
It's a window. They tape it up.
It's a okay.
They put in a new
one. As long as no one is hurt. That's what's most important.
That's the main thing.
Yes. Sorry, Pauline.
Yes.
No, it's okay. It's the show we did before the Supernova one was at the Glass House in Pomona. And then
the
Gaps died that night. Gaps died that night. I knew he was. I'd spoke to him on the Friday. We came out. We did the No Values, the punk festival.
Yes.
On the Saturday, we did Pomona on the Sunday, and I said I'll be back, like because of time differences, Tuesday morning. So I said, you know, you'll be fine. Hang on, kind of thing. All they'd told him on the Friday, the previous Friday, was that he had terminal cancer. But he'd got like 3 months or something. I mean, no one knew he had 3 days. So that was just a huge thing and just knocked everybody, particularly myself, for six. Yeah, he was just so wonderful. He was just so wonderful. And I can't tell you what a joy he was to perform with on stage. And you know, it was a big thing to not have him there anymore. I mean, it's even at that stage, we'd been playing for like 9 months without the day we found out that he actually had cancer was the day we were going to perform at Wembley Stadium with Blur and Paul Weller. So and you know, he was so looking forward to doing that. Well, who wouldn't be? I mean, you know, we thought that's the only way we're going to get to play at Wembley Stadium, you know. I mean, that we've got to be there. So we had to, like, everything had to be rejigged and stuff, and like how we were going to do this without gaps, and so there wasn't like a moment to think, because we had gigs, he was getting better, he was going to get treatment, all of those things. We just never thought that it was possible that he was going to pass. So yeah, I would say that it's only now that we're kind of getting over it. Well, I am. I don't know about others, but certainly, you know. But he had a wonderful send-off at Coventry Cathedral. Loads of people turned out, and you know, it's what he wanted, and yeah,
he got his wish.
Life goes on. Life goes on, but you know, it's it would have been better with him.
Of course.
Oh, absolutely. You talked earlier about acting. Maybe we can dig a little deeper into your acting career, and
I played Billie Holiday.
What can you share?
I played Billie Holiday on the stage in a play called All or Nothing at All. And I won the Time Out 01 for London award for that, which was presented to me by John Malkovich. And I've never quite gotten over that.
Wow.
And also I played Cleopatra on the stage at Stratford on Avon, which isn't a million miles away from Coventry, in the Swan Theatre there. And you know, various other things. I mean, done TV acting. There's a couple of films kicking around with me in it. So yeah, it was.
So I guess it's
I enjoyed all that.
Yeah, I guess it's a question of the question is, what haven't you done at this point?
What haven't I done?
Magnificently well, I should point out.
Well, no. I tried to write a novel, and that didn't work out quite as well as writing my memoir. So, but anyway, it's early days yet. You know.
Of course. Because a lot of people don't know that you're multi-talented, that you've done acting. So we just thought we'd highlight that, you know.
Well, then they need to go and see the documentary film.
There you go.
and read your memoir.
And read the memoir, Black by Design.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pauline, do you, and on the acting side of things, do you prefer like stage over movies, or vice versa? Do you have a preference, or do you like it?
I don't have a preference about anything. I mean, overriding, I suppose my preference is for music. I find it nothing better than being in a studio with like-minded people trying to put new songs together. That is my favorite thing to do. The next favorite thing is performing. You know, our set in front of as many people as you can, and in other countries as well, people who don't even know who you are. That's a challenge. I like challenges. Otherwise you get very, very old, do you know what I mean, sort of very, very quickly, if you don't challenge yourself. So yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, the producer and the director of the documentary film, Pauline Black, Two Tone Story, they turned up and said, hey, we'd like to do a film about your book. Do you want to be in it? And I said, well, I mean, what not to like? You know, you get the chance to work with two people who read the book, who liked the book, who seemed to like you. And so off we went on an adventure for 2 years. And then it opened at the London Film Festival in 2024. So that was wonderful.
And where are some of the amazing places that the tour took you?
When you say the tour, do you mean music
the book
or
promotion tour?
The book tour? I would say, well, we took the film and the book to Turin in Italy 2 weeks ago now, and we won a prize for the best documentary there, the Sea Sound Festival, which which was we hadn't expected that. We were just so pleased to be in Italy, and because you've got to remember that when you're in a European country, not everybody speaks English.
Yes.
And so the subtitles and all of those kinds of things, and you think, well, will people get this? Will they get it enough? You've got interpreters and all this kind of stuff. So for them to get that, really feel great about it. We got a distributor on board who thinks it's the best thing since sliced bread. So he wants to spread it across Europe. So yeah, I didn't think, hey,
so how about US? Why US fans been denied the opportunity to share the joy and the pleasure?
Well, no, we will come.
Look,
do you know how expensive it is to tour now, right? We are a touring party of 10, right? To come out, what certain people who run your country now did was it's okay coming back the other way, you coming over here. But I mean, they're absolutely draconian visa prices now. Buses, all of those kinds of things. It's fine if you want to come out and sleep on people's floors. I don't want to do that.
Right. Well, and this is actually a perfect segue to this question. So Pauline, there are numerous parallels between current times and when two-tone first emerged, especially considering the state of race relations, our extremely volatile political climate. I'm not just talking about here in the States, but I will talk about here in the States. That said, do you think that do you expect, or would you anticipate that more artists would be writing such protest songs and speaking out, or do you think that
I hope younger people are going to start writing those kind of songs? That is definitely something that if there are still people who are interested in ska music and reggae music, they could definitely be doing right now, rather than sometimes you just have to stick your head above the parapet. Sometimes you just have to do that, and if it gets shut off, it gets shut off. I would like to see more people doing that, but that is one of the reasons why I don't come out there at the moment. It's too volatile. It is too volatile. You, and I don't mean you personally, but the American working class people have to sort that out. They have to see what is wrong. Otherwise you're not going to have a country fit for purpose. It's not fit for purpose now. And I wish
I have
over here into the Middle East.
I have tremendous admiration for what you said at Supernova last year. And you really and truly set the trend when you stood up and you spoke up about what's happening here in this country, and you disguised it. Shed light.
Didn't make any difference, did it? They still
no. Yes, I tell you, because I work both days. I work the festival.
I know.
Right. And several bands took to.
Did they take that up? Good.
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
Several bands started speaking up more boldly, so to speak.
Yeah.
Good.
I can testify to that. It made a difference.
That's
great.
Inspiring and the encouraging and so much of I mean, you are continuously like this, and in specials and and the Beat obviously wrote some very prolific songs as well.
Absolutely.
But that whole movement is so crucial, not just musically but lyrically, right? And so much of it continues to reign true.
Yeah.
But
that doesn't help you when you need to get a visa.
No, I know.
Not in this day and age. So I don't want to really, you know what I mean? I would like to come out again.
I know.
So, and you never know what you're going to come out to.
Well,
but
we would love to see you out here again.
Those are my thoughts, and I would very much like to come out. I'd certainly like to show the film out there, and that may be possible, maybe later on in the year, but you'll hear about that when we hear about it, kind of thing.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, I don't think we have to wait until there's a change in administration. If there is a change, the rate we're going at, so you have to do whatever is necessary to come on out here and let your fans see.
But that doesn't stop young bands over there sort of being a little more radical, maybe than what they are.
Great.
I think that's
you inspire them to be.
Good.
That's why it's so important. Yeah.
Good.
I saw it again, not to be repetitious. I saw the immediate impact and effect.
Well, I'm really happy about
when you
that,
make,
Junior.
yes, ma'am.
You know?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, what do you hope the next generation of women, not just in general, but specifically women in ska, will be able to do more easily than you could during your time, especially
can't
the
really
early
say
years?
that I can't say really that it was difficult to do what I did, but you do have to have a certain attitude. You have to have an attitude that is, you're not going to brook no bullshit from anybody, particularly. But nonetheless, still always remembering that the people that you diss on the way up will definitely diss you on the way back down again. So, I mean, you have to kind of keep that in check.
Indeed.
But I would say that I see more women now around in ska. The wonderful Heather Augustin puts out her books about women in ska. All of that's very powerful, and it needs that kind of thing to happen. And certainly she was there at Supernova, and myself and Daniel Rachel, who did the whole book about two-tone, catalogued all of that. He was there, and all of those things need to happen, because I feel that young people growing up, it's really which bit of ska that they plug into. If you plug into Prince Buster and sort of what came after reggae, but more roots reggae, and what that was saying, and then you get to two-tone, which is even more, to a certain extent radical, but radical to how we were in Britain, not JA. Then I feel that that's where you need to be looking. You don't need to be looking at kind of ska is just, some version of umpar music, and you drink a lot of beer to it and spill it everywhere and have a great deal of fun.
Right.
You are not the Beastie Boys.
Right.
As much as I like the Beastie Boys, you are not the Beastie Boys.
Same
But you always have great horn sections out there, and I love the Mexican bands.
Oh my goodness!
That mix up their music with those to me are the most powerful, because it's like they took it and they did something with it. They weren't just interested in sort of, copying bits of it, of what we had done, or they just took it and said, hey, this is great. I mean, you think about it. Everybody listens to rock music. That's just 4 to the floor, right? So if you just put the 4 on the offbeat, you must be able to do something original. Still, with ska music, You must be able to. They can. They're always pumping it out.
The bands from Mexico, incredible. And I love to see this. A couple months ago, Out of Control Army, which is a band from Mexico, played Jamaica. Kingston, they were the first Mexican ska group ever played in Jamaica, which
brilliant.
was
brilliant. And they went down well, did they?
They did, yes, from the footage I saw. Speaking of Jamaica, have you all played Jamaica?
No. No one's ever asked us.
Junior, you need to make some phone calls.
Why me? I'm not Jamaican.
Neither am I.
It's a sad case. It's a sad case that people in Jamaica, they just move on.
No, they've moved on. But black music does that.
Bob Marley was once asked about ska. I said, man, we move on long time. That was the past.
Exactly. But that's the role. That's the role of black people in music, to move it on. And that's how I've said, all right, we still kind of stay true to what our roots were, but we've always been moving on.
I'm not sure, but move on. It's kind of frightening to where the music is now in Jamaica. So I still stay with the old bits.
Yes, but it all has its place. It all has its place.
Right. And
some of the more gangster stuff and that, I'm not really kind of too down with that. And
so we promote the traditional ska.
I don't like that.
We promote the traditional ska as much as possibly can. And it's by choice.
Right.
I salute you, sir.
Pauline, what legacy would you like to leave behind for the generation?
I don't think about legacies. I mean, we are legacy artists, and so our role should be to keep changing things up, to keep doing what we're doing, and to keep moving forward. insofar as the selector can do that,
love that.
and at the ages that we are now at. I don't know how many more years, good years, that I'm going to have being out there, being able to do what I do. But while I'm doing it, you know, you've got to speak truth to power sometimes. You've
Absolutely.
got to speak about those things. Otherwise, God knows what kind of country any of us are going to be, or world any of us are going to be living in. I really don't know, because things are not good
Powerful.
at the moment.
Powerful thoughts there.
Yeah, these are very frightening times we're living in. Frightening times. This is the first time in my life I'm going to bed sometime wondering.
Well, you're in America. I mean, I know internally that ain't good. Do you know what I mean? Internally, really, if if you look like us, that ain't good. I'm talking about me and Junior here.
I understand.
But yeah, none of that's good. But yeah, if you're living over here, with
Is it much better?
no.
There you go.
No. I mean, we don't have anyone quite as frightening as your leader at the
No,
moment.
we've never history have never seen that. It's worse than Hitler.
We have an idiot in waiting, you know, who says his best mates with your person.
Right.
But when you look at what's happening in the Middle East at the moment, it's you know, we're all a bit worried as to what this means, for Europe, because we're part of Europe. You know, I mean, you're over there with your World Series. It's not necessarily joining in anybody else's World Series, you know. And as your great leader yesterday pointed out to the Japanese Prime Minister, yeah, well, you know.
That wasn't insulting.
No, the insult, that was like, that was another stratospheric level. But I'm just saying that America has this very kind of insular way of looking at other places, because you can always retreat to there. There's always huge, vast amounts of sea in between you and everything else that's going on. And, well, ocean, I should say. It's
and a lot of people live in the
insular.
Bubble.
Yeah. I mean, you can bet your boots that the bit in the middle, you know, where the Dust Bowl was, I don't know what the hell's going on in the world most of the time. They don't know what's going on in the next town, because it's about 100 miles away.
that is frighteningly true. Yes. Yeah. Well, so Pauline, as we near the end here of this conversation that we're thoroughly enjoying,
I'm never going to get a visa now.
For 2026,
Pauline, all the things you've said are over their head.
Yeah,
there we go. There we go.
Hopefully,
anything you've said.
For 2026, I know you all are coming up and playing at the and we just spoke with Sean Flowerdew, so you're playing his international
we are
festival.
Yeah.
I know that you're doing
exciting. That's sold out.
That's an amazing festival, and kudos for the long history of that festival. You all are also playing. I saw one of Madness's festivals this summer.
Two of Madness's festivals, yeah.
Okay.
Two.
Well, what else do you want to touch on for the summer for people to look out for anywhere in the world?
Oh, well, we're recording stuff now, so we probably are gonna put out an EP to begin with, 4 tracks, and then release singles. Rather than albums. People don't listen to albums anymore, not in the way that albums were meant in the days that we used to put them out anyway. So I think that we'll do that periodically for the foreseeable and see how that works out for us.
But I thought it was the opposite, that people are going back to albums now.
They're going back to albums. They're going back to vinyl.
Yes.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's what I meant. Yeah, exactly.
But vinyl takes a lot of forms, doesn't it?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's
mean, because maybe you might have 5 tracks on one side, 4 tracks on one side.
Mm-hmm.
On the
and
other,
you have the
4
remix
on the other
and
side.
the dub.
Yeah, and you have all of that.
Right.
But hey,
So is that what you were talking about?
I want to hear a song. I want to hear a song. That's why I don't want to hear some remix version of somebody's troubled mind. No.
Understood.
Oh, man, and I was going to summon King Tubby to do a mix, but that's okay.
Well, that's a different thing. That's a different thing.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yes.
So, well, any closing thoughts?
Any closing thoughts? I'm burning
Hey.
my husband's dinner at the moment.
Oh, that's why we're going to let you go
They
here.
make me feel guilty. Yeah.
Any
Oh.
closing thoughts? My closing thoughts are to both of you, actually, for such a fun time, for asking such intelligent questions, because I don't always get such intelligent
well, thank
questions,
you.
I can
Thank
tell
you.
you. So, and that was absolutely brilliant. And also just for keeping the scene alive, to give Tazy Phillips my very best,
yes, we'll
because
pass
he's
that
a
along.
darling. He's a darling, and he was
Yeah.
one of the very first people that I met when I came over in the 90s.
He is
And he
crucial
has
to your
always
scene.
been lovely to us.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's just keep it alive out there. Keep it alive out there as long as you possibly can, because you're not as far down the road as I am.
Oh no, I'm way further down. As a matter of fact, I have one foot in the grave and
No,
Oh,
one.
I
Junior,
don't
you do
believe
not.
you.
No.
I don't believe you.
And I say this with all honesty. Both of you look, Junior looks the same as when I met him in 1994, and you look the same as when I first saw you on an album cover or any posters. Paul.
Hey, well,
Yeah.
Specsavers for you.
There we go. Well, yes. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks for
you.
your closing thought.
Have
And
a wonderful time.
yes, and thanks to everyone for their support. And please subscribe to this podcast series on our YouTube channel. Follow us at History of LA Ska on Instagram and join our Facebook page. This series is produced by my good friend here, Eric Kohler,
Yes.
on Rock Radio.
Thank you, Junior.
Eric.
And
Big
Pauline,
up, Eric. Big up,
Thank you
Junior.
so much, Pauline.
Peace to everyone.
Continue to be joyful and politically powerful, as Junior said early on. And we encourage everyone, please do your part to celebrate and preserve the scene. And I'll leave you with this. Come on out, put on your dancing shoes, and enjoy yourself. So much love and be well. Pauline, take care.
Be well to you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye
Take
now.
care.